Hello everybody and welcome to week 2. This is officially the week where we get started in some content material for the class. So as you'll notice, I am already opened to the week 2 tab, which is where you should be right now. And the first thing that pops up that you're going to see is the to-do list. Like I said, every week I will give you a suggested list. It just helps sort of organize what's due, what's coming up, what do you need to read, any special announcements or instructions, things like that. So I find it really helpful to go through this list, and especially listening to the podcast. Like I said in an earlier podcast for the class introductory, you're not really going to be getting lecture through the podcasts, but I do often go over different concepts, what to expect. I give an overview of the week, of the chapter, and this is really helpful. I'll also give tips for what to look out for, maybe anything announcing special circumstances for the tests or anything of that nature. So if you're not listening to the podcast, you're going to be missing out on likely some vital information. So hopefully you're doing that. So I'm going to skip down here. First thing you see right here are the objectives. Again, you're not answering any of these and turning them in necessarily. These are here for you to use to study off of. So a great rule of thumb is once you've read through the chapters, you've looked at all the lecture slides, you've done all the readings, and you feel like you've studied a good deal, I would try to answer these questions. You could even use these questions as a guide to what to write down as you're going through the readings, but you should be able to answer each one of these objectives by the time you're done, pretty solidly. And this is forcing you to sort of study in a nature that's more recall versus recognition. We'll be learning about that in the memory chapter, but when you can recall the answers to questions, it's a harder way of studying than just recognition, which is what your tests are. Your tests are multiple choice. You're given options, and you're to recognize which one's the right one. So I would say if you're quizzing yourself in this manner, it's going to be a good way to study for the test and a good indicator if you're understanding what you should be from the content of the course. Now you'll notice each of these objectives is also located on a lot of the lecture slides. I don't know if they all have them, but often it'll say at the top of the slide what the objective is, and then the slide covers that objective. So some of these are multifaceted. There's more than one sentence answer. It might be a model, it might be a theory, it might be comparing and contrasting different things. So to answer some of these are a little more complex. So definitely make note cards or write notes out on each one, whatever's going to help you best to get through all of these. And some chapters have more than others, so you just want to kind of pay attention to what you're studying and understanding and making sure you're covering all your bases pretty much. I've included a PDF of chapter 1, which is here. And this is of the Cicerelli and White text. And I also did so for the Hawk preface, which is the section on ethics that you'll be reading for this week, and it's tied to your discussion questions. So here are the PDFs if you don't yet have your textbooks. That would be helpful, but I would say you should be using this time. You should be getting them in if you haven't already. This is week 2. So I would expect that by this time you would start having those textbooks. If worse comes to worse and you've had an ordeal with the bookstore or with getting your books, I do have a copy of both these books on reserve at Ely. So you can check them out for a period of time, but not indefinitely. And that might help just get you through. Here are the lecture slides for chapter 1. So again, go through those. They map on to the course objectives. So they're meant and designed in a way that it's making sure that you're comprehending each objective as it hits as you're going through the chapter. And again, you might want to use the audio option For the textbook in my psych lab, you can have the book read to you. That might be a good way. A first read through, at least do it through the audio option. That might be helpful. Here are the videos that you're going to be watching. They're all in my psych lab. So when you go to the videos section of my psych lab, you're going to be going into episode 1 and episode 2. So those deal with the history and the intro of psychology, and then getting into research methodology. And there's several videos in each one, but they're all very short and concentrated on specific concepts and topics within those chapters. So this is the first week you're going to be doing a discussion board posting, and I've listed here instructions on how to go about doing that. If you click on this attachment here, this is the rubric for how I'm going to score your discussion posts, what I'm looking for, what kinds of information should you be putting in these. I give you examples of like what a 10-point post looks like, 9-point post, 8-point post, and so forth. Do look at that. I would have that next to you as you're kind of going through the questions, which are right down here. This week you only have one question. But as you're going through that, make sure you're hitting on all the main points. Make sure that you're getting everything that I ask for in there. So this week, for week 2, our discussion is based on ethics. So when you read in chapter 1 and when you read the Hawk preface, it's going to talk about how do we do ethical research in psychology. It even mentions some studies that were done very unethically. And why were they done unethically? What safeguards weren't in place? And so that's what I want you getting familiar with this week, particularly with the topic of animal research and then human participant research. There's different guidelines in place for how we are to deal with those subjects or those participants. So take this as your opportunity to integrate in everything that you've read. You should be showcasing to me what you know on the topic. This is my only way of gauging your writing because our tests are multiple choice. I use this as a way to showcase your writing. So of course, always you should be paying attention to editing, spelling, sentence structure. Make sure to proofread everything. When you submit your discussion question, do not submit it via an attachment. You want to go ahead and cut and paste your answer right into the thread of the discussion. So when you click on here, it's going to take you right to the discussion, and you're going to be able to insert your title, whatever the topic is for the week. You can just write week 2 discussion, and then your answer to the question. You might want to restate the question stem in your answer. That's always very helpful. And then go ahead and give me your answer, and you can really just cut and paste it from a Word document. But what I don't want you doing is attaching it as a document. I find that when students attach documents, people don't read it. They don't want to go on another click and go to another area to have to read it. They want it right there, and it makes it easier for other students to be commenting on what you post when you do it that way. So that's kind of how that's going to work. As you're writing, you might want to be citing something that you pulled from the Hawk book or the main Cicerelli White textbook, and that's fine. I encourage you to do that, but you want to make sure that you are citing correctly and giving proper credit to where it's due. So just this is a little 1-page document on how to cite as you're writing. Like, do I put the author's name? Do I put the title of the book? Do I put the date? What do I put? This is according to APA style, which is a style you're going to get familiar with if you're a psych major or even a social science major. We use APA formatting a lot. It's the American Psychological Association, and it's just a stylistic way of writing and citing sources in this case. So there's that. Other 2 elements are a quiz. So Pretty much every Friday we're going to be having a quiz. The quiz will be open until 11:59 p.m. That means when it hits midnight, it's no longer Friday, right? It's now Saturday and it's late. So just make sure by Friday at 11:59 you get that quiz done. It's open now, and it will be open until 11:59 on Friday. But I would say use your time wisely. Use the week. Don't try to take it too early if you're not ready. The quizzes are meant to be good indicators of whether or not you're ready for the exams. They're short. There's 10 questions in each one. So obviously it's not going to test all your knowledge, but it's only one chapter. So it's 10 questions coming from one chapter. And it could be a good representation of how you're doing and what you know. And this will prepare you for the following week when you will have your first exam in week 3. So there's the quiz for that, and you would just click right on here and you would enter right into the quiz. One thing I do want to say too is always make sure you're in a place where you have the backup option. Taking your test or your quiz on a laptop that battery power is low or your internet connection is splotchy, not a good idea. So you always want to make sure that you're in a place that, you're going to eliminate the technical difficulties as much as possible. Once you take the quiz, once you start it, you cannot go back. If you click out of it, it's going to shut you off. You have to answer the questions in the order they appear in order to move forward. And once your time limit is reached, the quiz will automatically close. So if you're not done and your 10 minutes is up, it's going to close on you and just save whatever you have at that point. Once the quiz is over, you will get feedback on how you did. So you'll see your score and your submitted answers, and that gives you a chance to take a look at anything you got wrong. All right, last but not least, this is Intro Psych, and in Intro Psych, we have a mandatory psych assessment for our department that every Intro Psych student takes. It is online, it's quick, but it is mandatory. Not doing it will result in an incomplete in the class. So I've included instructions on how to do that. You should be getting an email this week from Sona System, which is the generator of this assessment. They're the ones that do this test. You should be getting an email from them saying, all right, you have the green light to go ahead and take that assessment. Once you receive that email, be looking for it for one in your email. It might go to your junk box. Go ahead and click it open. Okay, that's going to provide a link to the website where you're going to take the assessment. That's super important. Okay. So it'll have your login information and all of that. Just be on the lookout again in your junk mail in case it goes there, so that nothing gets misplaced. If for some reason you never get an email and you're wondering about it, you can send any questions you might have to Dr. Daniel. And here's his email. He can help with any issues in the link wasn't good, it didn't work, you didn't get the email, or what have you. Any problems can be addressed to Dr. Daniel. So this needs to be completed by Friday the 9th, which gives you till the end of week 3. So you have a couple weeks to work on this, but I want to put it on your radar now. Get it done, get it out of the way as early as you can. Again, it's not connected to your grade in this class at all unless you don't do it. Then you would get an incomplete. But your score on the test has nothing to do with your grade in the class. It's simply an assessment to kind of see where all our incoming psych students are at in their knowledge in psychology. So that brings us to the finish of week 2. If you have any questions as the week goes on, please definitely email me. Thanks, everybody.